Welcome back to another video. So in today's one, we're going to go through the 5 Klaviyo email flows you need for your Shopify store in 2024. So these are going to be 5 must-have email flows that have helped us generate over 5 million for our clients over the past 18 months. So I'm going to walk you through exactly each flow, some design examples as well, and why they're so important. So first things first is we're going to go into the welcome flow. And before we dive into some examples, we're just going to explain what is it if you're not familiar and what obviously the goal is of that flow. So obviously this is your brand's first impression. So you need to use this as an opportunity to, show off the best of your brand, of course, give an offer, and you need to set the tone for your brand and what it's truly about to keep customers engaged and hype them up to receive future emails. Now, the goal of this is really to introduce your subscribers to products, your USPs, build trust, and make sure that they actually care about what you do and what you sell. So you're trying to build trust, properly onboard them into the brand. And obviously, inevitably, the goal then beyond that is to obviously convert them into a first-time buyer. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up some examples, design examples, content idea examples, and we'll kind of run through that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flick back over and we'll go over to a Miro board. We'll just come out here. And if you're kind of stuck for content ideas for a welcome flow, this is one that we've done for a previous client of ours. And throughout these examples, I'm going to show some from client examples and some from like other brands as well. But as you can see here, so welcome email 1 is just going to be a nice simple email, call to action right up at the top. And we have our code here. Of course, this is just a placeholder code, but we're obviously trying to get them to use the code and show off, top industry leaders in the space who endorse that brand to build that trust with the customer. I'm not going to go through every email in as much detail, but hopefully this will kind of give you an idea as to how to properly onboard a customer into a brand or welcome them to the brand. The second email then is just kind of explaining about how the products work, a bit more about the science behind the products. Obviously, again, to educate the customer, make sure that they're aware of the products that they're actually the functionality and the ins and outs of how the product actually works. An educated customer is obviously a customer who's going to more than likely purchase from you. Again, this is just a simple code reminder, so we're reminding them about the code subtly. We have the code here again. If they're not sure where to start, they can try out some of the customer favorites, the top sellers, best sellers, whatever you want to call it. Now, this brand had also a podcast, so we want to push people to the podcast, and we almost want to put them down a rabbit hole of just being engrossed by the brand, getting really interested. And of course, long form content is a fantastic way of nurturing an audience and building trust with them. Hopefully, like what I'm doing here with some people who are watching this video. So what we're doing here is we're pushing them towards that podcast, and it's just kind of like a brand building email, try and get them to go down that kind of rabbit hole of just, again, getting engrossed in the brand. And then finally, we have a discount reminder. Now, for some brands, we have much longer flows than this. Generally, we've done a lot of testing. We've found that this is kind of the optimal sending frequency for a welcome series for that brand. And generally speaking, this is kind of going off track a small bit. But with flows, if you're ever wondering, should I add more emails? Should I take more emails, take emails away from the flow? Normally, the strategy that we use is, of course, your open rates and your click rates are probably more than likely going to dip the further down the flow that you go. But if you wanted to decide to add an additional email, just look at the last email in the flow. And if that's still getting really good open rates, really good click rates, that's kind of an indication that you might have scope to add another email. And generally we'll do that once a month or once every so often. And as soon as we kind of see diminishing returns on that last email that we add, in other words, if the open rates are dipping, if the click rates are dipping a lot, then we probably we might know that by then that obviously customers are kind of getting a lot more unengaged as the flow goes on. And of course you can kind of monitor your spam unsubscribe rates as well to kind of best gauge that. So that's generally a welcome series email, fairly simple. Another thing that we like to do with this brand as well, even though it's not included in these designs, is we'll put a little button down here asking customers to go into the SMS list. So they can tap that link, they'll go to their mobile phone, they'll sign up for the SMS list, and then they can get an SMS offer as well by doing that. It's something I'd strongly recommend having on a lot of your email templates, not all of them, but a lot of them. Simply due to the fact that it's just going to be a very, very efficient way of growing your SMS list. And it's quite passive as well. So just flicking back to the presentation, we'll go back into full screen and we'll just move on to the abandoned cart and checkout. So I just want to stress the fact that the abandoned cart and the abandoned checkout are totally different flows. The reason why I have them bunched in here together is because generally the content's going to be the same. And if you're not familiar about why these are different, an abandoned cart is when a customer adds to the cart An abandoned checkout is when someone starts the checkout. They're totally different triggers. And if you don't have an abandoned cart set up, you need to, obviously, if you're on Shopify, add the added to cart snippet to your Shopify store so you can start tracking the added to cart event in Klaviyo. Doesn't automatically do that. So obviously, what are these flows, right? They're obviously designed to retarget customers who either added to the cart or started checkout. Again, these are totally different triggers. The customer has shown interest, but they haven't pulled the trigger. An abandoned cart or checkout, like that could just simply be down to the fact that a customer could have been on their mobile phone or their laptop or their tablet, and the doorbell could have rang and they just got distracted. So you just really need to kind of nudge that customer and obviously make sure that you're removing as much objections as possible to make sure that the only possible objection that they have is probably down to price. And if it's down to price, then you can start introducing discounts. So again, the goal here is to remove any objections that they have, whether that be to do with shipping, whether that be to do with the product quality, whether that be to do with social proof, like not enough reviews, whatever that may be. Just make sure that you get rid of all of that kind of stuff before you start introducing discounts. So we're going to go back into this Miro board and we'll pull up a few examples of an abandoned cart or checkout emails. Now, obviously, these aren't clients; these are from different brands, but I pulled in a few different brands here just to kind of give you an idea as to different styles of abandoned cart or checkout emails. So if you're not familiar with this brand, highly recommend signing up to their email list. Their emails are unbelievable. Vacation. They sell like sun cream or sunscreen and other different various products. But you can see here in the email, it's quite simple. But simple does really well in my experience in the first email of an abandoned cart or checkout, because as I said, the customer simply could have got distracted. They just need that little nudge to remind them about the product. The thing I like about this as well is it's kind of personal because there's a nice signature here, and you can see it's coming from Ray Smith, Regional Sales Director and Part-Time Accountant. So it's quite simple, and that's a nice example of an abandoned cart or checkout email. Now, you'll see here from this brand, this is quite simple as well. You'll notice that the brand is like completely removing the price objection here straight away on the hero image. Play now, pay later with Klarna. So obviously, like, there's probably going to be a higher priced item, so they want to make sure that the customer has those payment options. Again, that's going to remove that price objection. You can also see down here that we have some trust icons. Is something I strongly recommend having in your abandonment flow. So that would be your cart, checkout, browse, and site abandonment potentially as well. You want to make sure that you're always removing objections. So you can see here that the brand has a 2-year warranty, locking hard shell case, 6-point inspection. And again, they have their support contact here as well for customers to reach out to. So that's a nice, simple way of just building trust without completely overdoing it. Now, in this email here, and you might want to think maybe in your third or fourth email of your abandoned cart or checkout, you can start introducing a discount, because as long as you've overcome the main objections in the first 2 emails, it's probably down to price, and in which case you can start introducing a discount here in the third or fourth email. You'll see here that there's a nice risk reversal here as well. So it's saying that customers can try them out for 30 days, and there's a guarantee there. So that's a nice way of removing risk subtly as well. And it's a nice, simple email. Call to action right up the top. And you see here again, you deserve better sleep. Here's 10% off. Nice and simple. Code right up the top, and a simple shop now button. Quite simple. And you'll see here a bit of social proof here, like trust, not even trust icons, but kind of as featured in or as seen in kind of icons here, which looks quite good. You'll see here again, 60-night money back guarantee, easy free shipping and returns, 1-year warranty. So again, nice trust icons here. These work really well to obviously build that trust in these abandonment emails. So that is that on the abandoned cart and checkout. Now I'll go back into full present and we'll just go on to the next flow, which is the browse abandonment. So what is this? This flow is retargeting customers who have viewed products but have not added to the cart. They haven't started the checkout process, and of course they haven't purchased as well. So it's a bit less intense than obviously abandoned cart or checkout. And again, the job here is to remove any objections, guide the customer towards completing their purchase. It's quite simple. Now, in this case, especially with non-buyers, if you decide to split your flow based off of buyers and non-buyers, for the non-buyer segment, you really want to hammer social proof with them. So what we'll do here is we'll go back again into the Miro board and we'll go and pull up a few examples of a browse abandonment flow. So for this brand, again, it's nice and simple. This first email, see something you like it even more when it's yours. Simple product shot here, take another look, simple call to action, and then showing them some other products that they could potentially like, obviously based off of products that they were probably looking at previously. or products, that they could have purchased before or something like that. And again, we have nice trust element here with the reviews. It's quite simple. Now, what I really like to do as well and I like to see it in browse abandonment flows, abandoned cart flows, is plain text emails. They work really well, especially for non-buyer segments as well, simply due to the fact that not a lot of people realize that it's automated. So funnily enough, a lot of customers will think that this actually comes from the founder. You'll get a lot of nice replies, and they tend to get quite high engagement, like click rates, open rates. Really good for deliverability as well. But it also shows a human element to the brand. So you'll see in this one, we're obviously kind of reaching out to see if the customer needs any help making their decision. We have a call to action to bring them back to the products that they're looking at. And again, we have in a PS section, by the way, we're backed by 1,200 5-star reviews. So it's quite simple. Then in the third email, you're looking at introducing a discount, reminding them about the product that they were looking at. And again, we have trust icons here. So it's quite simple. And what I've noticed is with abandonment flows, the simpler the design, the better they actually perform, weirdly enough. I find when you add more design elements and you're just making everything so complicated, it doesn't tend to convert as well in my experience. So nice and simple kind of does the trick, in my opinion. Lastly, then we're having another follow-up email from the founder, reminding them about the code that they can use. And again, PS, if you have any questions or queries, please feel free to reply to this email. These work really, really well, plain text emails and these abandonment flows. So I'd strongly recommend actually testing that out if you don't have it in place already. Now, finally, we're going to go back to the post-purchase flow. So again, what is this? Fairly straightforward. It's in the name. It's sent to customers after they make an order. Now, the goal here really is to make sure from an email marketing perspective that you're giving the customer the best possible communication experience post-purchase. Now, of course, the chances of the customer coming back a second time or a third time or a fourth time is it's very dependent on their actual product experience. It's not going to be all down to the emails that they're receiving, because if they receive a crappy product but the emails are unbelievable, that doesn't mean that they're going to be retained because the emails are great. They're going to be retained because the product is good and they had an overall good experience with the brand. The shipping was on time, the packaging was neat and tidy. There's other factors at play. But what our job here is, from an email marketing perspective, is just make sure that, we're following up with the customer, making sure that they're happy with the order that they've made, asking for feedback, removing buyer's remorse, getting them excited about the product that they just purchased. And again, ultimately trying to get that customer to come back and make a second, third, fourth, fifth purchase, whatever that may be. So what we'll do is we'll pull up a few examples here again in the mirror board. And these are from a few different brands, but we'll go into the first email. So very simple. You'll just want to follow up. Maybe you could do this a day later, because obviously you might have an order confirmation email going out. You can do it maybe a few hours after the purchase. But this kind of email works exceptionally well. We've tested it with a lot of different clients. Again, this is going to be coming from the founder, letting them know that thank you so much for making the purchase, and provoking them to reply to the email, because number one, going to be good for deliverability. Number two, you might receive qualitative feedback as well from the customer. They might let you know, some information that they've pulled from the site. I noticed your website was really good, or maybe, I noticed, thanks for reaching out. I noticed that the checkout process was a bit difficult, something like that. You'd be surprised the amount of qualitative feedback that you can get from these plain text emails. And it works really, really well to leave, a good impression with the customer who's made the purchase. Because again, a lot of the time, customers will actually think that this comes from the founder, weirdly enough. Of course, a lot of people will know that it's automated, but there are a portion of people who actually don't think so. So for the second email, the job here is really to kind of get the customer excited about the product that they just purchased, but potentially give them some advice about what they've made, what the purchase that they've made. So you might want to, in a supplement case, you might want to, of course, give them the best practices for taking the supplement. In this case, for a jewelry brand, this is about taking care of the jewelry itself. And again, this is going to get the customer excited about the product that they've just purchased, because this is going to come before they've probably received the product. So, it's priming them for receiving it. Now, this is something that we like doing as well. It's not actually a review request email. It's more so asking them for qualitative feedback. So you can see here, so how has your experience been with us since your last purchase? whether it's been the product, the delivery process, or anything related to Linnet. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You'd be so surprised the amount of feedback that you're getting. Provoking them to reply, simply hit reply and let me know in advance. Thank you for taking the time to share. I personally read and each and every response. Your insights are truly valuable. So again, this is different to a review request. This would just be useful for getting feedback on like how the shipping was, how the product was, the packaging, and again, something I strongly recommend. And it's a nice touch as well, especially for a first-time buyer when the founder is reaching out to you, asking you how you got on. Another email that you can use, that we like to use as well, is trying to obviously collect UGC. So in this email, we're obviously saying share your style with us and win a free gift. Now that you got your dream piece, we'd love to see it on. And then explaining what they have to do to obviously get that discount and how to share it on socials. Then you're kind of moving into your, again, this is from another brand, you're moving into your reordering email. So like one thing I want to stress across this post-purchase is we're only asking for the reorder generally around like the 5th or 6th email, depending on the sales cycle of the brand. The reason why we're doing that is, of course, like I've seen a lot of times when I'm auditing accounts that they'll ask for the reorder in like, the 2nd or 3rd email. Like the customer mightn't have even had the chance to use the product yet, and you're asking for the reorder. And it can leave a bad taste in the customer's mouth as well by doing that, because like they've literally just spent their money with you, and you're asking for more money again. So a lot of customers won't like that. But again, this is kind of a cross-selling email. So ready to try something new? With these additional bad boys in your toolbox, you'll be unstoppable. I want to try something new. And this will bring them back to other products. Again, this is going to be based off of, other products that the customer hasn't bought, and you're trying to cross-sell them onto other items. Then you can start introducing a discount for first-time buyers if you really want to get them to come back, and you can give them something like 10% off, again, showing them what they might also like. So these would be products that they actually haven't made a purchase on, but they probably would, that we could cross-sell them onto, if that makes sense. So that's generally the structure that we go for a post-purchase flow. If you do the post-purchase flow right and correctly, there's no reason why this can't be in your top 3 performing flows. It's not unusual for some of our clients to have the post-purchase as being the top performing flow, which is a really good sign, because if your post-purchase flow is performing really well, that means you're getting more profitable orders, you're getting more repeat customers. It's just a win-win, really, of course. So just flicking back to the doc here. So that is all of the flows. So it's exactly how I helped to generate my clients over 5 million with Klaviyo email flows, all automated, and the exact process I used. So you can just copy and paste these structures, apply them to your business today, and start getting results. So I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. If you found it useful, please feel free to hit subscribe, like, comment, whatever that may be, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next video.